The final element of the future of gaming really is gaming guilds. Hello everyone and welcome. My name is Pietro, SwissBorg Analyst and Senior Analyst at SwissBorg Ventures, and welcome to yet another edition of the Market Outlook. I'll be giving you the most interesting news, most insightful developments, and anything that I think can be valuable to discuss in terms of what is happening in the blockchain space. In terms of a macro overview this week, I thought it would be most interesting to look at Europe and the European situation. So in the past market updates, really, the focus has generally been on US markets or more broad-based, larger macroeconomic movements, and a lot on the US since, of course, they dictate a lot of how the rest of the market also moves. But this week, I thought that a focus on Europe would be of most use and I thought would be most relevant to give. So there's a lot of things happening currently in Europe. Most of the events, let's say, are driven by the Russia situation. So the situation between Russia and Ukraine, that's of course ongoing. And with Russia pretty much cutting or at least reducing a lot of the gas that goes to Europe. Europe is very Russia dependent in terms of gas, which creates a very complicated situation at the moment. GDP growth in Q2 has been very, very low all across Europe. Germany didn't even grow in Q2. And Russia is having France is having similar problems at the moment. So overall, Europe is not growing as fast as it should be, and in some cases is actually shrinking. When we look at the effect of these gas cuts and what they do to Europe, as they've already heavily affected Europe, you can see what kind of effects the Eurozone would have if there was a 10% gas cut. And of course, we know that Russia lately has cut a lot more than 10% of the gas to Europe. You can see that the impact of the GDP is extremely high for the majority of these countries, ranging from anywhere from 0 to 2% loss in GDP, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it's really quite high figures. And overall, as an average, the Eurozone would shrink by 1% with every 10% gas cut. So a 10% gas cut would lead to that. Imagine what the real situation is like at the moment. Finally, one of the last figures that recently came out that was very, very shocking were the German PPI numbers. So PPI tracks essentially producer prices. So it's how much over time producer prices change. And the graph there shows anywhere back in time that you go has never been as high as this current period, which means that going all the way back to the early 40s and 50s when this index came out, this has never been as high, and it shows a concerning future at the moment for Germany. And of course, Germany, France, that I mentioned before, also having issues. When the biggest economies in Europe have issues, of course, this then has a domino effect with other countries as well. So it's quite concerning at the moment. Hopefully some more positive news comes out, but this is the current state of Europe at the moment with the ongoing Russia war. So in terms of uncertainty, as Europe finds itself at the moment, and as pretty much the entire global economy finds itself at the moment, it's very interesting to look at some of the most profitable and smartest strategies when it comes to still being in the investment field. And this week, that focus I want to give on the crypto market and what essentially are the smart positioning moves in a bear market. Now, the title of this slide is Flock to Safety, Reliability, and Resilience, because in my opinion, that creates three different types of token classes within the crypto sphere. The first is a flock to safety. Flock to safety meaning ultimate safety, which should technically be 100% safety, but nothing is 100% safe, of course. So even stablecoins such as USDC, USDT, that mimic the USD, right? So it should be essentially just holding USD. It's never 100% safety, but of course, it's as close to 100% safety as you can get. You're holding a stable asset, and you pretty much aim to hold it so you don't have any assets that fluctuate. Now, at the moment, of course, inflation and currency concerns are a factor that play into that. So even that doesn't make them 100% safe, and having the entire portfolio in stable coins wouldn't make too much sense from an investing standpoint. The second asset class in terms of tokens is reliability. So reliability means, of course, you can have safety, but you can also point to the tokens in that asset class that are the largest, that are the most established, and that have always performed well. Here, some examples can be Ethereum, Bitcoin, Uniswap, or Avalanche. It can be a lot of the larger, more established tokens that have a clear use case or that are some kind of momentum gainers in the market, right? So Bitcoin, for example, we know that is like saying it's virtual or digital gold, and we know the impact that's had on the entire industry. Ethereum, the same, is the largest blockchain, the most DeFi activity on there, and also one of the largest blockchains to build anything on. Uniswap being one of the largest decentralized exchanges. So all these tokens are reliable because if you believe in crypto, then they are some of the most reliable assets in that space. The third asset class is resilience. So by resilience, we mean when the market has crashed and when other tokens have either failed or done extremely bad, these tokens have shown resilience. Some of these examples can be SNX, Chainlink, Yearn Finance, and SwissBorg as well, CHSB. These have all shown then that in times of crises, they've either been excellent, so solid projects, or in times of extreme crises like the crash in 2018, that they've actually managed to remain resilient, remain in the market, and eventually actually come out of that a lot better than the current state. So these three asset classes, I'm not just throwing them out there. I think there's data that can also show that these three asset classes are the most mimicked in bear market situations. One of those is to look at smart money wallets. And rather than looking at movements in smart money wallets, we actually look at the number of wallets that hold a certain class. You can see that the largest holdings are in Ethereum, as I stated, reliability, or USDC, DAI, USDT, which are safety, or some of the more resilient tokens like Chainlink that I mentioned there, like SNX, etc. So smart money is really in line with this strategy in terms of bear market conditions, to flock to safety, if you want extreme safety, but there are other forms of safety, to flock to reliable assets, and to finally flock to assets and tokens that have been resilient and shown that they are very, very solid projects. Finally, this week I wanted to give a focus on gaming. So the gaming ecosystem in blockchain, what is the present and what is the future of blockchain games? So when we look at the ecosystem right now, we have quite a lot of interesting both play-to-earn games and blockchain-related games that make up this industry. So if we look at the first table there that shows the top blockchain game by users, we can see that some of the biggest names there will, of course, be recognized by yourself, such as Alien Worlds, such as Axie Infinity, or such as, for example, Upland. We see that the user count on there is quite high, so 350,000 for Alien Worlds, for example, then going down. So a lot of people are clearly interested in blockchain-related games. But if we actually look at the entire gaming industry, so this multi-billion-dollar industry right now, that is mostly not in the Web3 space, we see that the upside potential of this blockchain-related gaming industry is absolutely incredible. This will go nowhere, and it's just a matter of optimizing exactly what kind of games need to be launched, how the monetization element needs to be involved, how NFTs need to be involved, etc. So we're very much at the early stages, but the attraction already at this stage is quite incredible. Nonetheless, when we look at the present, we see games that are either not too engaging. They have an element where it aims for people to make money very quickly when it launches, and after that, there's no real interest because people go in it to make money rather than actually for the engaging game. And it leads to not a lot of good AAA games, sometimes very low quality, and essentially that is made for the play-to-earn element, which we'll get to in a second. So where can Web 2 and Web 3 actually have an interaction? What works for Web 2 that is currently not working for Web3, and where is the future of gaming? So Web2 was all focused on playability. It was focused on getting players to come to your game and play that game, retaining those players, actually having engaging games. And after that, there will be, of course, also in-game currencies and goods. So if you take, for example, a game like Call of Duty, right, this game is made for you to get on the game, start enjoying it, and therefore you are retained as a consumer there, pretty much, right? As a user, as a gamer. They retain you because the game is so interesting. It's so engaging. You have a lot of fun, and you don't really want to stop playing it. That's essentially why the gaming industry did so well, right? For Web3, it's not at all the case. So for Web3, it's really a play-to-earn mechanism. So it's first the earning element that's most important, rather than the playing and engaging element. There are a lot of tokens involved that are often tradable for other tokens. Right, non-gaming related tokens. There's normally NFTs involved at this stage, and the focus is really on earning money and not on the engaging elements. And that's why so many games could start off with a large user base and quickly die down, because the focus was made on the users getting money rather than enjoying themselves. The future of gaming is really very much the interaction between these two. So it is fun and engaging games that allow developers to retain users, and that should always be the focus of gaming. And that's something that Louis from our SwissBorg also stresses. And it should be very much a play and earn system, not play to earn. So you play, you enjoy yourself, and you also earn some money on the side, right? You get monetized for that. But it's not you play to earn money. You play to first enjoy yourself. There should be virtual goods that can be NFTs and also transferable NFTs. And of course, this interaction with the NFT and gaming world is fascinating and will definitely be there. And through this interaction, it will really allow for AAA Web3 games to finally be created and to be mass adopted, and to also have a monetization element. The final element of the future of gaming really is gaming guilds. Gaming guilds are really fascinating new ways to organize a structure of people that are interested in games and participating in similar games. So gaming guilds are a group of investors, gamers, and managers that together create a guild, and through which they can purchase in-game assets. So in Web3 games, let's say purchasing lands or purchasing some special weapon, and they can then lend that to players to be used. This is really a way to not only be in the community of gamers, but also to democratize Web3 gaming. This is because some games like Axie, for example, can have high costs to start gaming, right? You need to have an initial payment there. Buy an NFT, for example, like Steppen, to start actually playing or participating in something. And this is democratizing that by actually leaving the cost up to someone else and you borrowing that asset to then start using it in a game. This is very, very interesting, but the evolution of this really comes from SwissBorg. SwissBorg is the gaming guild created through SwissBorg, so it's a SwissBorg gaming guild, and their focus is also on esports. So it's really the first gaming-related blockchain project as a gaming guild that is focusing on esports, so competing in some of the best games, and really the aim is to be also in a competitive sphere of gamers. This is very interesting. You know how massive the esports industry is, with games like League of Legends or Fortnite having tournaments worth millions for the winners. So this will definitely become massive as well in the Web3 space, and definitely a very, very interesting development to look forward to. So I thank you very much for paying attention this week. I hope this information has been valuable and informative, and I'll see you next week for more of this market outlook. Take care.